Hi, my name is Loren. I am part of the team here at Tiny Home Tours. I wanted to pop on briefly before your regular Tiny Home Tours video and let you know that this weekend is the last weekend that we are offering access to the Tiny Living course at 50% off its usual price. I really hope that you'll take advantage of this incredible opportunity. We've spent more than a year creating a course that we think is the best course out there for tiny living. We focus on everything from RVs, schoolies, traditional tiny homes, camper vans, dating on the road, living with your pets, how to get a remote job, and so much more. So once again, 50% off is only available for this weekend. Make sure you get access to all of these videos, instructors, and so much more before it goes up to its regular price. Enjoy your video, and hopefully we'll see you in the course.
What's up? My name is Shane. This is my 2019 Ford Transit. Come on in. So this is my entryway. It's my signature Spanish tile. I do this on all of my builds. So the fridge that I went with is the 12-volt isotherm fridge. Right above that, I have a drawer that is for your cell phone, keys, anything like that right when you're getting in. For the partition wall, I went with the blue pine beetle kill. The idea for these were to have removable bins for your socks and underwear and things like that. This is your big closet for hanging clothes. Down here, more storage for clothes and more storage for clothes. After living in a van for a year and not having a shower, this van I needed to have a shower in. So this is the Nautilus shower door. Easily retracts. Step in here. I have a 2.5 gallon water heater. Inside the shower, I actually have a window because I didn't want to block off this wall completely. So the idea with the shower is to make it beautiful, so you never want to close the door. The tiles are Mercury Mosaic, the same tiles that I used in my last van. The color is Blue Bell. So right when you walk in, I have the light. Easy LED touch light. Right in front of that, I went with the Induction Cooktop this time. I wanted no gas in my van, no propane or anything like that. This is run off the battery. Right here is the vent for the fridge. A vent for a fridge is an absolute must. A lot of van lifers forget to do that, and they have a lot of mold and stuff like that inside their cabinetry. So anytime you build a van, you have a fridge in there, you want to make sure to vent it properly. The countertops, this time I went with bamboo countertops. I actually ordered these from Lowe's, and they weren't expensive at all. They're really nice countertops. So underneath the countertops, we have a few drawers for storage in here. This one right here is actually going to be a wine rack. There will be 2 wine bottles that will sit right here. In this cabinet, I've got a trash can and recyclable can, something that's often overlooked while building a van. Super important to have these 2 things, especially if you're living full-time. Over here I have the Rivati sink. It's a nice deep sink with a cutting board that goes on top of it. Inside of the sink I actually have a tray so you can put all your vegetables and wash all your things in there. Underneath the sink I have a drawer here, and then a massive storage underneath of the sink. So my inspiration for van life was I wanted to live within my means. Before van life, I lived in a house, I had a nice truck, all that stuff, and it was just overwhelming, and I wanted to travel and really find myself and find what I wanted to do in life. So in September of 2019, I started living in a van. I lived in a van for a year. I lived in a 2013 Sprinter van. This one was a cedar built. It looked like a log cabin on the inside. Awesome build. I absolutely love that van. So with this van, I wanted to have everything that I didn't have in that van. I didn't have a shower. I didn't have a proper trash can or recyclable can. I didn't have hot water. I didn't have, you know, a TV. I didn't have any of those things. So with this van, I really wanted all of the amenities that you would have in your house. So when somebody sees this van, they can see themselves living in this van. They can picture themselves living van life, and it'll encourage them to actually want to live van life. I think a lot of people in the world are living too big. They're buying too much stuff. They have too many things, and it's just causing a lot of problems and anxieties in people's lives. With me selling everything and getting rid of everything, I was able to create space for new things into my life. I wasn't able to travel before because I had a mortgage. I wasn't able to go out and sleep in the woods with my dogs because I had a job that required me to be in there Monday through Saturday. With this lifestyle, with van life, I'm able to live how I want to live and live the life that I want to live. It wasn't an easy start. It took a lot of, there were a lot of battles and a lot of hoops to jump over. But eventually I got on the road and I started meeting people and started inspiring me, and eventually led me to starting my own van building company. So now I am a full-time van builder and not a full-time van lifer. So with the upper cabinetry, I didn't want to feel overcrowded. So I actually built this section back a little bit farther and then built this section back, as opposed to having everything so close. Having that extra room to walk around is very nice in a van, so you're not feeling all boxed in. So with the ceiling, I went with the tongue and groove. I planed down all of the wood to 1/2 inch to save a lot of weight. The wood across the beams is a poplar, and I treated all of the wood with a marine varnish, so everything is waterproofed in here, which is really nice, honestly. Just your basic regular puck lights on the ceiling. The skylight is a Dinette skylight. It's simple to open. Just grab these 2 latches and it pushes right up. Awesome to have the skylight, especially with the max air fan in the back. In the back here, we have the max air fan that sits right over top of you. On each side of these benches is storage, as well as plumbing and electric. Storage bin on this side right here, as well as another storage bin in front of it. On this side is actually where the plumbing is located. I went with the plexiglass on top so you can see through all of the components and you can see if there's any leaks or anything like that going on. This is my electrical system. Again, I went with the plexiglass because I wanted to see inside if anything was going on. The electrical system that I went with is a Victron system. I have the Multiplus 3000, as well as 4 Rely-On batteries, making it 420 watts of battery. I have a DC to DC charger, basically everything you can possibly need in this. On the roof, I have 2 panels equaling 340 watts. Each panel runs the length of the van, and they are sun flare panels, so they're actually walkable panels that you can walk on. Up front here is my breaker box, so I have all of the breakers right here, easily accessible, and any wiring and anything you need to do is accessed back through here. Also, the Webasto heater. This is a gasoline heater, so it is tapped into the gas tank. The Webasto is a great heating system. No complaints. while I was traveling for a year, I was constantly posting to Instagram and TikTok, and I was able to grow a pretty big following. And with that following, I was able to start my business, Dogwood Conversions, which is awesome to be able to do that. Now I'm able to reach people and build vans for people who might not have known I existed, a year ago. And I'm eventually going to start doing a tiny home. I'm going to start building a tiny home in the spring of 2022. So that's my next project. I basically just want to build small minimalism homes for people because of what's going on in the world and everything that's been happening, the past year and a half. I think a lot of people are displaced in the world, and a lot of people are overwhelmed, and housing prices is out of this world. It's over the roof. So being able to live within your means and live within something that's super nice and luxurious, but you can actually afford it, that is what I'm all about, and that's what Dogwood Conversions is all about as well. So there are pros and cons with living in a van. For instance, you might not get the best parking spot at night. You might be parked on a slant. Your neighbor that lives in a vehicle might not be the nicest person. So there are some cons that come with living in a van, but I believe there are more pros than there are cons. Being able to travel freely and go somewhere when I want to and bring my home with me is the best feeling in the world. Right now, I can literally cook a meal and walk 10 feet to a picnic table and sit by the river and enjoy that meal, as opposed to being in my house, not outside in my neighborhood. This just gives me freedom to live in the world and be where I want to be, and that's in nature. That's where I feel most at home. So bringing my home to nature is the best feeling ever. So I chose the Dinette set because I wanted access to the front and the back. My last van, I was able to walk front to back, and that is just what I like to do. When I back into parking spots, it's easy to just open up your doors and get right out. So I went with the telescoping table. This actually drops down and becomes the bed. On this side is storage for the leaves. So then I have these leaves that come out and then fill in the gaps. The bed is plenty of room. I'm 6 foot. My feet are just hanging off. If you lay diagonally, you have plenty of room too. I wanted the bed to be even with the windowsills. So the windows in this were the main focal point. So I wanted really big, beautiful windowsills. So the wood I use is poplar, and there's plenty of room on these windowsills. You can put your phone, you can put a drink, put flower pots back there. With this build, I wanted all the luxuries of home. I wanted somebody to look at this van and say, I could see myself living in that van. So with that, I wanted to do a 12-volt TV. So this is actually a battery-operated TV. Pulls out like that. You can hook it up to your phone, Netflix, all that. So in the back here, we have the outdoor shower. Hose just hooks up right here. You have hot and cold water. This is your water gauge. So when you're filling up your tank, you know how much water is going into it. In the back here is a storage drawer. Slides out. I have 500-pound slides on each side, so this is walkable. Do my morning meditations. This lifts up, and then you have storage underneath too. This is basically where you're gonna keep any tools, hose, Phillips, anything like that. And then that just slides right back in, and then locks in place with that. So if you're wanting to get into van life, you don't need to build something this luxurious to live in. I would suggest going out into the road and really finding out what you need. I've seen people survive in Subarus, you know, small Astro vans, pickup trucks I've seen people live out of. It's whatever you're comfortable in. I was comfortable living in a tent for 3 months, so I slept outside in a tent next to my van while I could have slept in the van, but that's just where I was more comfortable. So I would suggest, if you're just starting out and you're wanting to get into van life, whatever vehicle you have or whatever you're in, start living in it. Just go, send it. Thanks for watching. If you guys want to follow along on my journey, you can follow me on Instagram at shane.dennis with 3 N's. And you can also follow me on TikTok at shane.dennis with 2 N's. And also my podcast is at the Inner Stoke Podcast.